Today, we will attempt to cover the following. Change happening around us. I think my colleague from EcoBank, Mr. T, has mentioned it slightly. We'll also look at the wheels of change. What are in these wheels? We'll look at banking and the fourth industrial revolution. And then we'll look at what we are calling threats. What exactly is a threat? Are they really threats? We need to look at it. The rise of FinTech, the impact of FinTech, the future of banking, and then what we in UBA think. And I will share some suggestions here. I want us to take a look, just a few minutes, a minute or two, around everybody. I can see Nana Hima with her camera. And I believe if everybody should be asked to bring out something, there will be a mobile phone or something around us. Just take a look. You see that there is some digital something. Everybody is holding something. I can't remember the last time I bought a watch now. There is a camera. We've stopped buying camera. Something, everybody is holding something that has to do with digital innovation, isn't it? Great. And then if you look at the first, sorry, let me just push this a bit so that we can see the page very well. In 1979, this whole machine, the very first picture, everything there, as big as it is, as big as that is, weighed just 250 megabytes. Look at the size of it, the very first one. And I'm told it costs thousands, $10,000s of dollars. I mean, a lot of money. Today, 2013, look at the small chip here. It's 16 gigabytes. I hope I'm right. And that costs just $11. So look at how the world has transformed from this whole machine to just a chip. The world has been brought down to just a little thing, and it's much, much cheaper. Don't say move on. So, global revolution. Somebody said change is coming. I think it was my sister here. Change is really, really here. What is causing this change? If you look at the first column there in the round circle, there are a lot of things happening in the world. I think in the 2000, the 20th century, we've heard a lot about globalization. We've heard a lot about digital business, which we are talking about here today. There's another thing that is causing it, which is the demographic shifts. Today, there's a lot of change in even the way families are, what people are expecting, the number of children that people want, the education that we want to give our kids, the number of children that we want to have compared to our grandmothers and grandfathers. I went somewhere today and somebody said I was the 11th born of my mother. I was like, for real? 11th. Things are changing. There is changing workforce. Gone are the days before you start working. I think I started working at the age of 30. Today, a lot of people that are coming into banking, my bankers will agree with me, 23, 22. 22, I think I was struggling to enter the university. So that is also changing. Our world is changing. And then we have stakeholder pressure. Today it's about profit. We want to make money. There's a lot of pressure from shareholders, from government, a lot of regulatory changes. Customers have become so sophisticated, it's not funny. Very dynamic customers. And then we have our staff. These days, if you shout too hard, they leave. You promote somebody this morning, the next day, he's going to another bank. Their attention, the kind of things that we used to do before, when you can spend 10, 15 years. Today, if you are interviewing somebody, why do you want to leave Bank A? Why do you want to come? Oh, I've spent 5 years. It's time to move on. Initially, I was getting angry with them. Say, are you serious? 5 years? Are you saying you are going to spend 5 years and leave? Then they are like, oh no, but so I realized that response is so common that now I've accepted it. I've done 5 years, I need to move. So that is the kind of pressure that we are getting from, that is informing all this change. So these are the various transformation imperatives that is causing so much pressure. Today, if you look at banking, which is part of why we are here, there is so much dynamism in banking now. Technology is reshaping the way we provide banking, is reshaping how we deliver our product. It's even the pressure on coming from these global entities has even defined the structure of a bank. Today, you can't be talking about very sophisticated structure, MD, executive. We are now, a lot of banks are now using what we call the flat structure because of technology. Other important trends that is changing our world is urbanization. Urbanization is changing our world, and then climate change. These are just on the other side. So the effect of all these that I have spoken about is what I call the wheel of change. What are the things inside this? What is the impact? We have technology innovation. I've spoken about that already. There's a lot of innovation. Social media. Today, I wonder if there's anybody in this room that is not one way or the other hooked. I was telling my son a few days ago, I said, when you get up, what do? You are coming to greet mommy and you are holding phone. He said, oh, but I need to check few things. So social media is quite ripe. Everybody is on it. Shifting demographic and stroke culture is also changing. Shared economy. Today, buyers and sellers don't have to meet. We have the likes of Uber. We've all heard about Uber. We have the eBay people. So whatever I have, I can sell it to you without you knowing me. That has come. It has come to stay. So we should be ready for it. Knowledge, self-awareness, individuality. Today, customers don't want you to bog them together. If I want to sell a product to you, and I said, all of you are going to get this, a lot of people are not going to be happy. Because in this room, we have bankers, we have teachers, we have engineers. You want your product to be tailored to suit you. And because of innovation, everybody is aware. If I want to destroy somebody, I just go on the internet and put a message. By the time you are aware, people are calling you from US. So there's a lot of knowledge in the system. And then, like I said earlier, globalization. All this has come during your time and my time. And that is what is causing the drive to bring some change. There are, however, certain things that are not here, which we also need to take notice of. Number one is the virtual reality. It's coming. Or, if not here already. Today, we are talking about trying to bring things that are virtual into reality. I've just been informed that very soon, when you call somebody, it's not going to be the Skype of this world, whereby you are seeing the person's picture. You can actually bring that person they will do it such that it's as if the person is near you. I hope it happens during our era, but it's going to happen, and then they are working on it. I'm also told that there's something called super robots. Today, I can decide to manufacture my own husband or my spouse. They are going to be able to get a robot that will suit what we want. When I wake up in the morning, you bring me a cup of tea, do this, do that. I also hope to see that, but it's also coming. Artificial intelligence. Today, lawyers, teachers, doctors, their world are being infiltrated into. Today, if you have any legal issue, you can just go, then they will query the system, and they are getting better answers than real lawyers. I'm told it's coming. So change, it has happened. So we need to embrace it. 3D printing. This one was very annoying when I heard it, and I thought I should bring it to your attention. I'm told that now you can, if you want this laptop, you don't need to go to the shops. You can just click on something, it prints it out, and it is a laptop. And the gun has been manufactured such that you need to just print through printing. And when you print it out, whatever comes out can give you the same effect as the real is coming. It's being done, and I'm told that the first gun has been produced through such printing. Internet of Things. Everything today is connected. Now we have cars that they are looking at that you can just sit here, and I don't know where my car is parked, but I should be able to switch it on. I should be able to do things remotely. Everything is being connected to that. Cryptocurrency. This is one area maybe CIMG another time we'll have to look into, because I seriously think that our world is moving towards cryptocurrency. We all know about Bitcoin. There's a sister of mine looking at my face. Bitcoin is coming. Today, there's a lot of currency circulating outside the banking world. They don't need a bank. You don't need building. So those who have Bitcoins will give us some lectures on it later. So, we are living in a digital age, whether we like it or not. I'm told 79% of smartphone users are using these devices to shop for information. If I want to buy anything today, I go on the internet. Anything I want, I have to go on the internet. I'm also told through research, these are all research figures, it's not people imagining it. 10% of any company that embrace technology, it's likely that they will have 10% higher in their revenue. By 250 billion devices will be connected digitally. By 2017, chief marketing officers will spend more money on technology than chief information officers. What that means is that, my brother, marketers will spend more money trying to connect digitally than the usual, I don't know if there's any CID or anybody in the room, they will spend more money. So more money is going to be spent on that. So the social media world, looking at this research, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's a bit scary. Everybody, it's just a confirmation of what we said earlier. Everybody, one way or the other, is on this. Between age 18 to 54 years. You will see that, look at that first baby. Between 13 and 17, 11% of them are on Facebook, 4% on Twitter, Google, 9% of them. By the age of 17, it's only LinkedIn they are not interested in. But the rest, they are present. Now, let's quickly, because of time, jump to the old man, 55 years and above. 7% of them are on Facebook. Seriously, I doubt this figure because I know there are more. Twitter, 9% of them are on Twitter, 55 years and above. Google is 7%. LinkedIn, 10.5%. Between the old and the youngest, look at the 26 up to maybe 45. You will see that the figures are a bit alarming. I also think that we should look at, I want to share with you this data that I found. Amount of data currently generated on per minute. Mr. T, is very scary. 600,000 people log into Facebook per minute. 67,000 photos are uploaded per minute. 433,000 tweets. 433,000 per minute. Not per day, per minute. 4.19 million people are currently on Google searching. YouTube, 306 hours of YouTube content uploaded per minute. Above all, 80,000 people are on Amazon. Doing what? Buying. So, you went too fast, but let's be there. Okay, let's go. Let's go. So, I know we want to define something called millennia. And most of the time when you call millennial people, it's as if it's just the university student. But looking at the statistic that I just showed you, I don't think we should define the millennials in terms of age. I think we are all millennial. So what are the tendencies? They are well informed. The people of this digital world, they are well informed. They are social media citizens. That's where they live. That's where they are from. They are not Ghanaians. They are not Nigerians. They are not Togolese. They are millennial. They are empowered with option. So if you want to hold on to our old ways, they will be gone. So they are empowered. They believe that if you can't go to Twitter, you go here. Before you say Jesus is Lord, they've moved. They are very, very serious people. Inherent feeling of entitlement to convenience. They feel that, look, I'm entitled to it. I can have it. And we can't deny them of that. Fast food mentality. Shishishi. And to them, I think this is the greatest. Simplicity is what works with them. No complex, simple. You want to transfer money, you go to this. So, Mr. T, if you don't understand why those things are springing up, it's because we have this. And then curious and explorative. So, I just heard my colleague asking why we are experiencing this. The truth is that if you look at the revolutionary history, you will see that it is only now that banking is being impacted seriously. And that's why we are shouting. That's why we are crying. The first box in the 1784 was what we call that's when the revolution really, really started. And it was just a mechanical trying to introduce the steam engines and what have you. It didn't touch banking. When we got to 1820s, then electricity was introduced to power all those engines. It didn't impact banking negatively, if anything. Then we got to 1970s, the industrial age. Things were good. IT came into the system. Files were being removed. If there was anything at all, it was positive. Because those days, people used to move files. So it didn't impact us negatively. But today, the digital revolution, I can have my computer as it was in the 1970s, but as I'm sitting with you, I was standing there pressing 1212. I was on my system in the office. I didn't have to carry laptop. Even when I'm in the air, I can still approve. When I'm in Canada, as soon as I switch my phone on, they'll say, welcome, your data has been switched on, your water has been switched on. I'll still approve. I'll still do everything. So everything banking has now changed. Now we are, the cyber physical system has come to stay. So banking, this is the only age. It is in this digital revolution that we have seen a lot of threats affecting banking, or what we perceive to be threats. And so we'll quickly look at that. The banking industry is historically a highly regulated. I'm trying to explain that because we are conservative, if you look at it, everybody talks about, oh, banking is a conservative business. And we have so many regulations. We never really came out of our box. So we remained at the back whilst all these changes were happening. Let's move on. So let's quickly, before I go into go into the history of, let's look at the history of money. The history of money in the beginning. In the beginning was barter. This is how banking was done. By barter, the enabler that time was speech. You just go and talk, and then we exchange, and it's gone. Between 9,000 and 6,000 BC, it was cattle. Cattle was the medium. animal husbandry and agriculture was the enabler. Then 1000 BC, we have metal and coins. And the enabler was the Bronze Age. We were using coins, metals and coins that time. And then 500 BC, which was when the coinage was actually introduced. And then within this improved until Chinese in 800 AD, after the death of Christ, they introduced the currency. And what were we using? We were using printing. But today, we have, the 1980s, online was introduced to us. Today, people can transfer and what have you. And the enabler was internet. We've passed the age of internet. Today, we have cashless. I can sit here. Now we are even talking about cars without presence. Today you can transfer money. I can transfer money to you with nothing, just cashless. And then we talk about the cryptocurrency I spoke about, money moving outside the banking world. And so which ones are the enabler? We have the mobile, we have the cloud, we have the inscription, we have internet of things, but everything is changing on a daily basis. So perhaps by the time we leave here, something else may have come. Just by looking at your face, I may be able to transfer money to you. Who knows? So banking is actually being redefined based on this history and where we are today, the digital era. Banking is being redefined and reimagined. And if you look at, Brian is the CEO and chairman of Bank of America today. I brought his quote. Technology is changing how companies are organized and run across all industry. And ours is no different. I believed in this, that technology has come, is changing how we are going to do things, and we must embrace it. Brett King is the author of Bank 3.0. He also said, banking is no longer somewhere you go. It is something you do. KPMG said, remember when the question was, where do you bank? Today, that question is no longer relevant. It is now, how do you bank? I say banking is no longer a noun. It is a verb. And when you say something is a noun, you are talking about something standing, something that has a face. But when it's a verb, it is something that you do. So when we leave this room today, UBA is saying banking is a verb. So how do you do it? How are you doing it? Evolution of digital banking only banks. I was surprised. Thank you, CIMG, for giving me this opportunity, because it is through this preparation I got to know that, in fact, what we are afraid of actually exists. In Europe, these are the banks that we got in Europe. 5. Atom Bank in 2016, mop up 135 million pounds without a structure, without a face. People on bank, they have no face, they have nothing, just electronically. I was so shocked when I saw it, because I was going to say, oh, that's where banking is going. But we were already there. Sterling Bank had 48 million pounds. Number 26, a bank called number 26, has 36 million pounds. Tandem Bank has 24 million pounds. Monzo has 13 million. And I was surprised that it has even reached Africa. In Africa today, just at our next door neighbor, Nigeria, there's a bank called SunTrust Bank. No face, and people are banking. Why are we laughing? When is the next one coming in Ghana? Okay. So, but once it's reached Nigeria, it's just a matter of time. I can assure you. Okay, so let's move. Why is everybody smiling? So who is threatening the lion? Is it mobile phones? Technology? Do we agree? Are they threats? Okay, let's go on the journey. FinTech companies such as Insano, Ghana, Express Pay, Lending Club, USA, these are examples of companies that may be considered. As to whether they are threat or not, we'll look at it. But these are threats, the agent that we thought they cause some level of threat to banks. So we look at a fintech company. I've given you an example. We look at technological companies such as Apple, Asoriba. We have Asoriba in Ghana. We have Telcos, MTN, Vodafone, Airtel. And then we have non-bank financial institution, SIC, Insurance, Enterprise Life. Then we have large retailers and corporate like Amazon's, Walmart, ShopRite, Melcom in Ghana. These are the so-called agents of threat. Okay. I want to share Ron Shelvin's speech with you, just to, as a teaser. He is the director of research at Cornerstone Advisors. He said, go ahead, bankers. Spend money redesigning your branches to look like Starbucks, while your competitors extend their capabilities in the channels that will be, if they are not already, the battleground of the future. This statement is it's a mouthful, it's loaded, isn't it? But he can see it. He said, you banks, keep building branches. Keep talking about have 800 branches and thinking that is where the thing is. Whilst you should be thinking about the channels. And to him, the channels of deliveries by banks is the battleground of the future. I think that this is a well-taken advice by banks. So what is this battleground? The battleground, we may see it as virtual, we may see it as threat, but it is real. Unfortunately, a lot of banks perceive the way we perceive this threat. 45% of bankers that were interviewed think that technological tech companies, that what we call the FinTech, are threats. 49% thinks, not much. 6% thinks, oh, there's nothing. 32% of banks also thinks that startups, based on the earlier threats I showed you, are threats. 55% thinks that no, there's nothing. They are okay. Let's leave. Leave and let's leave. Whilst 12% of us think that, yeah, these guys, they are low. There's nothing to fear. Telcos, the people interviewed, only 26% believe that telcos are threats. 67% thinks that, oh, it's okay, let's work with them. 8% thinks, no, they are not a threat at all. As for the retailers, for we banks, we don't see them. They are only 8% thinks they are threat. 78% thinks, let's leave. And then 14% thinks that we shouldn't even consider them. Insurers are the lowest. Banks think that there's no threat at all. We shouldn't even bother. 67% believe that they are neutral. And then 28% thinks that they are even so low. So these are the consideration from banks. The first on that list, which is the one that we fear the most, is the fintech. So I decided to consider that. And when you say fintechs, it is finance and technology combined. So any company like MTN and the rest who are doing this mobile phone, they will belong to, they are telcos. But we have other intermediaries that are doing finance and technology. What gave rise to all these fintechs? We have loss of confidence and goodwill in banks after global financial recession. We have availability of unserved and untapped market segment by the banking sector. I think Bank of Ghana has made a lot of noise about this. It's always maintained that over 60% of bankable Ghanaians don't have account. That's a bit scary. It's a bit scary. So that may be the reason why that area has become a feeding ground for fintech. Regulatory regimen that preserve culture of conservatism and guide and prevent innovation. Banking legacy system that are not flexible to change. The power of technology in the 21st century, which we've spoken about. Over-reliance on bricks and mortar for delivery of customer experience by banks. Low level of competence of banks with engagement of customer on non-traditional channels. Low or absence of regulatory requirements for fintech. I wish Bank of Ghana was here today. They will need to look at that last level. Banking is essential. Banks are not. The richest man on earth. That's why I think this quote is very, very relevant. It's telling us that banking, which is the verb, is essential. Banks are not. According to a study from Essential, 35% of market share for North American bank is at stake by 2020. As much as 15% of bank revenue could shift to online-only banking. The other 20% could go to retailers. And I don't think we should consider Bill Gates as a threat, as just a bluff. I think it's real. And so my advice is that we need to look at these reasons that gave rise to fintech and see whether traditional banks like us could look at what we can address to make sure that we don't open the door too wide. Ghana landscape is already severally dotted with fintech. For the payment system, we have the e-Transact, the Expressway. I'm sure most of you know these companies. Mobile money and agency bank tech. We have Airtel, we have MTN, we have Tigo, Vodafone. Remittances, we have Sika. Microfinance, we have GKudi. Lending and savings, we have Fido. Come for loan in, is it 2 hours or something? Yeah, I think so. Or how many minutes? I think it's minutes or hours. One of them, Fido. Bitcoin and blockchain, they are already here with us. Crowdfunding, this one is not in Ghana, but it's almost here. And so on and so forth. We now have agri financing and this. So all these, go back to this first one. All these companies are in Ghana. And they are doing things that we used to do as bankers. So if you now go to, you ask yourself, how do these things affect us? So Johnson, let's go to, yeah. How are they eating the bank cheese? I'll try to explain it. I showed us companies that are doing payment. Some of the income that will have come when you transfer money to your son in tech. Now you go and say MTN, transfer. That income is a loss of income to me. So their mouth is wide. Can you see it? Can you see it? Big one, eating the first cake. And then you talk about personal finance management. They are in there. Lending, they are in there. I just mentioned Fido. The only thing that they've not touched so far is our core banking. But even that, they don't do treasury. So my treasurer is smiling, so she's safe. But we need to look. We should start looking. For all you know, they are still planning on how to get in there. Because currently, if you look at some of the rates they are offering, it's a bit high. So, but I'm aware they are not into trade and treasury. So that's why I've left the blue one in there. But every other thing that we do, you can see. Investment, they are there. That's the one in yellow there. Lending, they are there. Personal management, they are there. Payment, they are there. So they've entered into our world, thereby taking a lot of our cheese. Some heavy, some almost heavy. What do bankers think? What do they think the impact of all this will be? When you take about 71, most bankers believe that in terms of payment, 71% of this business will be done by, they will take about 71% of that business. In terms of lending, well, they may not be able to penetrate. They will only do 31%. If you talk about savings and investment, maybe they will take just about 21% of that. There's bankers who. Now, if you take about ancillary services, we think the impacts going forward may just be 44% when it comes to personal financial management. And then loyalty and rewards, maybe just about 40%. Support services, digital banking, marketing, they may do about 65%, which we consider high. Credit scoring, maybe they will still be very low, less than 30%. This is bankers talking. We are still in denial. Johnson. This is quite interesting, and I think this is an eye-opener for all banks. Let me see how I can explain this. The line of banking activity being impacted by FinTech and other new players account for about 60% of global banking profit after tax. What is this one saying? I'm told in 2014, this is the global profit of all banks worldwide was about $3.8 trillion. Bank-wide. Now, if you look at the activities of these FinTech and all the other agents, and you juxtapose that, what they are doing now, to 2014, because that's the figure I have. I don't have 2015. We couldn't get the latest. But let's even look at 2014. And we know that bank did 3.7 trillion bank-wide, worldwide. Now, if you now look at all these activities, assuming it had happened in 2014, when this profit was recorded, let's try and bring it to today's date. With the activities on the ground, the impact. In terms of lending, it means that these FinTech guys who have done 301 out of what we have. In terms of currency or checking account, if the impact is not much, they will have done about 131. Investment banking, maybe 44. If you put all their activity together, transaction payment, remember, they will, fee-based businesses, they will have done 483. If you look at the total revenue to banks, if what they are doing today is what they were doing then, or if we were making that profit today, what it means is that out of the 3.8 trillion that we made, what is left for banks will have been 2.75 trillion. The FinTech group will have taken 1.750 of our profit. And do you know what that translates to? Because you will still pay your tax, total after tax profit and everything came down to 41. For them, it went up to 56. Because remember some of the costs that we incur, buildings and what have you, they do is they sell the air. So what happens is that they will have, their return on equity will have been 22%. And banks will be 6%. So, will banking ever happen without a bank? Yes or no? Oh, already? You guys have given up the fight. Okay. So who said no? Okay, we'll see. Okay, you still support this, all right. The future of banking. What model will prevail? This is still about what banks think. Scenario 1. There will be banks. Okay, this one, I think everybody will have to choose. You can't sit on the fence. What do we think? Scenario 1 says there will be banks like we are today. And there will be digital banking interface like what we have. And the two of us will live hands on hands. That will just lead to, that's the current banks will be better. They will be able to deliver better. Okay? Banks will, however, continue to dominate the market. FinTechs will be absorbed by banks or remain on the fringes. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2, some people's mind says that the whole place will be taken by digital banking, which is what is happening in those Europe countries and the nearby. It is just digital banking that will take over in the near future. So in the future, and this will be the new bank, just digital. In that one, incumbent players will evolve, replace the existing legacy system, which is what we have, or digital bank will dominate. The third scenario says that it's only the FinTech guys who will be providing banking services. So we have FinTech will dominate with specialized service with front-end aggregators. Bank will become minority players. And then scenario 4 talks about, yes, there will be banking, there will be FinTech, social network banking will come up. So banks and FinTech will coexist and share dominance. In other words, the whole place is for us. It's not like the way we are talking now where we think they are coming into our space. Now we'll agree. Put your own, I put my own. So we'll leave that way. Leave and let's leave. Total, 50% each. No dominance, no nothing. So social media and virtual platform will become the major touch point for customers. So these are the 4 scenarios that will happen in this generation. We need to decide as banks, as FinTech, where or how do we want each of these scenarios. Mr. T, will you help? What do you think?
I will guess number 3.
Number 3 is which one? Hey, so you'll be what? Bank will go to the back. Hey, are you a betrayer? My colleague from Unibank, I think somebody was from Unibank. What do you think? Bank's view on the future of banking. Maybe I should have shared this before. Let's see. But only 10% of bankers think that FinTech phenomenon is overstated. It's all this FinTech we are talking about. How are they going to do it? In fact, anytime somebody talks about, hey, have you heard the amount that is on? It's not. So only 10% think that it's overstated. 20% believe that bank will continue to dominate. 33% support the third one, a mixed bank and FinTech coexistence. And then 24% believe that bank and FinTech will have equal share. And then only 5 believe that bank will be minor players. So thank God for Mr. T. Only 5 people, 5% of you. But majority, I think, are for the third column of that page. Okay, let's go. Okay. Here, bank self-assessment of weakness is coming against FinTech. How important are these? I think that clear strategy vision. Okay, this is to just tell us what we need to do if banks must continue to play that very important role or take our dominance back. 49 people believe that we need to look at clear strategic vision for digital. We cannot continue to see it as a tool. It's a must-have tool. 42% think that the danger of security breaches, we need to look at it. Culture not suitable to rapid change, we need to also address that. Local lack of agility, slowness to market, 35% things we need to look at that. Constrained by legacy technologies, those old beliefs of ours, we need to do away with it. Recruiting, retraining, technology, to make sure we impact technology on our staff, we need to look at it. Appropriate leadership, we must provide that. Obtaining senior executive support, we need to look at that. Regulatory pressures, we have to address it. Lack of clarity of FinTech. In other words, most of us currently don't even understand. And so this must be one reason that is accounting for why they are taking advantage and running. Opportunity we have to look at how to pursue them. We must invest in technology if we must overcome all this. So let's also look at the global views of FinTech. We have worldwide 25% think that FinTech is a threat. They've accepted it that it's a threat. 34% thinks we should see them as collaborators. 25% thinks that why don't we rather acquire them? And then 15% think that we have no option. Just let's leave them. Africa is here. Eastern, Middle East, and Africa. This is where we are, the middle one. So I'll jump quickly to that. 30% of banks in Africa think that FinTech represents or may present they are a possible threat. 36%, however, think that we should collaborate with them. We should work together. Like Nana said, let's work together. Let's collaborate. 22% think that we should see them. We should think of how to rather acquire them. Can you imagine? We should acquire FinTech. So it is up to banks to, I think that 36% may be the way out of this problem. So with all that I have said, and all that we have presented, we need to decide this evening whether FinTechs are disruptive agents or we should see them as vanguards of new or unserved markets, which is the same as the blue ocean. Do we see them as disruptive or we should see them as something that we must welcome? They are vanguards of new market. So what is disruptive agents? For most of us who are in this room who may be wondering what it is, it's not really negative in its sense. So I will try to define it. For a product technology business model to be disruptive, it has to meet these 4 points. It originates in lower market segment or new market. The market segments that is being served are deemed to be unprofitable by incumbent players. So banks, all those people in, how will I call it, Techiman, Wale, that we are not interested in. A lot of banks have ended their banking branches in Tamale. The Upper East, Upper West, and all the remote areas, we don't think it's profitable, so we didn't go there. The FinTech guys have gone there. The third point, has simplified products and comes at a lesser price point than the incumbent players. So are their products cheaper? We need to find out. Follow an upmarket trajectory to serve mainstream customers as acceptance deepen. So they targeted the non-banks, but currently I know lecturers are using mobile money. I know bankers are using mobile money. Don't you have? Who doesn't have mobile money account? So it's no longer for the back market that we left. they've been able to move from there to there. So if you look at this definition of what disruptive is, then truly, we can one way or the other say that the fintechs, based on this definition, this dictionary definition, are in that category. Philip Gellis is the CEO of Cantox, and Cantox is a fintech company. Look at how he wrapped us here. He said, fintech is changing the finance sector just like the internet changed the written press and the music industries. In what is a stagnant sector monopolized by banks, finance is ripe for innovation, and fintechs is unquestionably the catalyst needed for change. These are, it's very interesting. And I think that we should put on the buckle now and meet up with these challenges. We can't continue to sit. That's the gospel truth. Are these fintech disrupt? Okay, this is continuing. So if you want to see them as vanguards, fintech telcos seem to be pushing the frontiers of banking into new market or proposition. What am I saying here? I'm saying that today I bank people in WA. Thank God for fintech. Today, if somebody wants to tells me, I'll be like, but you are not in Tamale. You are not in WA. I said, but I don't need to be in WA. You want to pay your workers? Let's go. They don't need to be here. We can pay them. How are we doing that? Fintech. So really, they've been able to extend the frontiers positively. Today, there is nowhere in Accra, Ghana, that you want to bank, you want me to transfer money to, or anything, that I won't be able to do it. In fact, there is an industry where they used to carry cash, lot of cash, buying from their agent. And we are asking them, why do you carry that? Oh, the farmer, they said, no problem, we'll pay them. We can pay them. I don't know the farmer. I don't have a UBA branch in, what's the name of this farming community? No, not even Techiman. Asin, something Asin. Is it? No, Asin for Sue is big. Western region. There is this thing. We can pay your farmers. So I think that positively they've rather pushed market. They've opened our world into those markets. Fintechs through telcos are driving financial inclusion. Bank of Ghana, I know we are screaming with those in banks, talking about they have to regulate it and they have to do this. But the truth is that today, a lot of people too don't have had anything to do with banks, but for the fintech groups. And we appreciate them, and we should appreciate them for that. Because but for them, a lot of money will still be circulating outside banking. And it is fintech that brought them. I thought we should clap for fintech. Okay. So let me prove what I said. This one is to prove what I've been telling you about fintech. And this is positive. So that they don't say, hey, we are not banking with Abiola again because she came to bastardize as well. Let me just quickly prove that. If you look at 2010, I have something for 2010. In 2010, you can see that this is just Ghana. This is Ghanaian. Ghana. The first two bars there. In 2010, only 34% of people were bankable. The pink one represents 2010. This banking, PwC is real. It's statistics provided by Pricewaterhouse. Because of this fintech and things, it increased to 36%. So this is in the banking sector. Only 34% was with us. Now it has increased. The population in bank, the bankable guys who has come in, has moved from 34 to 36. Now if you go to non-bank formal, like the microfinances and all those people, it has moved from 7% to 22%. Remember, those people don't like banks. So just 2% of them moved into banking because of FinTech. But a lot of them, because microfinance is allowed to play with FinTech, it has increased them from 7% to 22%. Prior to now, this money will be under somebody's pillow. And these non-bank guys are also banking with who? Banks. So give and take, we are winners. Okay, the informal sector. The informal sector is the susu, they do money among themselves. They don't really use FinTech. You will see that because they have not embraced this, it has rather gone up. And the people who are excluded from the FinTech are still, in 2015, has fallen. So we still have 42% excluded from formal financial sector that FinTech still need to address. We need to find a way of bringing the people in informal sector who are on the increase in 2015. We need to find a way of getting the FinTech guys to go after them. And we also need to get the FinTech guys to go and still look at the little that is left, who are still not interested in anything called banking. So FinTech guys or the FinTech companies will still have to find methods or modalities to bring in both the informal sector and the people who are still outside. Let me give you a very interesting statistics. Mobile money subscribers. Look at them. Today we have over 20 million 500,000 and 470 wallets on mobile money. The total money that is floating just on mobile money, 10 cedi, 20 cedi, 10 cedi, 20 cedi, I'm told is 1.4 is it trillion? Billion. 1.4 billion cedis. The total amount of transaction, not amount now, transaction, is 31.03 trillion. It's still billion? Okay, it's 31 billion. But the interesting thing is that all banks in Ghana, checks, total assets, March 2017 is 41 billion. So if mobile money alone generates 31 billion, and all these are 3 or 4 Tigo, 4 companies, and all the banks in Ghana, the checks transaction is 41 billion. So we are now marching towards the 50-50. We are moving very fast towards the 50-50. Johnson, go there, go back. So look at the yellow mark. In 2012, can barely see them. Just 5 years ago. 2015, you can see they are on the increase. Registered mobile money. The total volume of transaction has also moved up from the pink ones. And then the total value of transaction, which is the red one, has also gone up. So it has come to stay, whether we like it or not. Johnson, let's go. Okay. View of the impact of FinTech on retail banking profit. Apart from the fact that the volume is also, they are driving volumes in terms of amount and transaction, let's see the impact on banks. This page is actually to explain that even as alarming as those figures are, let's see whether we should embrace it as banks or not. If you look at the one in yellow, very interesting page. Because of the various innovative offers that they are giving, banks are losing 13% of their profit. However, any mobile money that you send, once you are connected to a bank, there is still some tiny profit that comes to banks. So in terms of that increase, we get 5% of our profit from there. Margin compression. So because of all this, you compress banks' margin by close to 16%. They are able to increase, but because of the various things that are done, the various products that they are offering, banks, however, makes, even though they've compressed us 16, we get about 10%. And because we are embracing them today, I can assure you that UBA is one of the banks when it comes to driving mobile money. So like I said a few minutes ago, I can now serve a whole lot more people without branches. And because I'm not incurring that, through FinTechs, we have made a gain of about 30%. Because now, if you come and tell me about branch, I say, what do you need a branch for? So I'm making business, but I'm also conserving 30% because I'm no longer putting branches. Otherwise, by now, I have been in WA. So today we are here. Increase operational cost. Operational cost in terms of the various risks and what have you is going to decrease by -6. So you will see that the total negative effect of FinTech is about -35 in terms of things that we are losing. But what are we gaining? If you put the effect of the 1% I'm getting on mobile money, and you add the 10 I'm going to get on the various products that they are offering, and the cross sales that I'm doing, and then you add the 30% I've also been able to reserve from branches, the total gain compared to the 35 cost is what? 45. So the truth is that collaborating with FinTechs gives us more income than the threats. The collaboration with FinTech gives us more income than threats. Unfortunately, only 40% of banks see this as positive. Only 40% of banks think that, well, FinTech may be positive. Majority of us is either I can't see how good they are, or is negative. But this is just to prove that truly, I think that we should welcome the FinTechs into our world. So bank FinTechs collaboration for me is a win-win proposition. It's a good marriage. And when we look at certain statistics, I couldn't get that of Ghana, but we got some from the world. And looking at the forecast for the next future, we are told that digital finance in the developing world will have a great impact. What are they going to do? It's expected that by 2025, GDP in developing world, where Ghana is also one, will increase by 3.7 trillion. We are also told that new jobs that will be created if this bank FinTech marriage continues. This is in our world. This is not America. This is in developing world. We are told that 95 million new jobs, 95 million new jobs will be created. It is also true that 1.6 billion newly included individuals will come on board. So it's likely that everybody in Ghana will then be in banking. And the deposits that is going to come to all of us banks is $4.2 trillion. Just 2025. We are in 2000 and So it's 8 years' time. DMD. The bank will have to be full. And then, this one, I wish government was here. We are told that over $110 billion is what government will save from leakages. I think this is true. We like writing checks too much. And government spends money talking about seminars on ghost names, FinTech, and banks will solve it. $110 billion. That's a lot. Even if Ghana gets 10% of that, that's a lot. Okay. And then, new credit. As for credit, we are not competing. So it will just be 2.1. They can't compete with us, so it will be low. It's 2.1. Let's go. So that is the advantage I've also shown. Another advantage I think is worth noting is the customer experience. You remember we said that almost all of us sitting in this room, one way or the other, we may not be millennial, but we've come into millennial age. Today, digital world has changed and is changing customer journey, their expectations, their experience. So if you are a bank and we don't quickly marry this FinTech guy, your customers will never be able to go on that journey. Very winding one. It starts from here, goes down to you identify their needs. They want to search. Today, as soon as you say something, you see them, Mommy, it's not true. I said, how do you know? I just searched. So, they will search. They are no longer going to take that word, UBA is this, they will start opening account. No. Watch it. If you like, send your marketer somewhere, go and talk English, you say, okay, all right, put your proposal down, we'll get back to you. They are going to search. So their world is on their phone. And the only way we can get them is to be transparent. They want to be engaged. They want to be engaged. They want you to see them as very relevant. They want to make things easy for them. Like I said earlier, they want you to minimize the risk. They want you to reward them. So looking at everything that they want, that's its winding journey. The only way we can do that is if we solidify that relationship with FinTech. And I also got these few things that I think is also alarming and I want to share with my colleagues. We are told that 92% of people today, before they do anything, they trust their peers who can recommend to them in social media. People would rather go on the social media and find out, okay, what did this person say before they even try. 92% of people. 71% of them are saying, look, it's likely based on referrals from the media. And is it not true? Because I noticed, I was just telling my colleagues that may be true. Because anytime I want to buy something on the internet, the first thing I want to see is, what's the rating? Is it 3 or 4 or 5? As soon as it's 5, I'll put. If I see 3, maybe people don't like it. So 71% of our customers today are these people with the phone. Will go on the internet. What do people say about UBA? If you like, you just take and tweet, UBA is good. Somebody who has never heard the word will comment. Say anything positive today and put it in the media. They'll start reacting. He doesn't know the person, he's just a member. But he likes Nana Yua, so he will comment. Yes, I agree with you. UBA is good. So 71% will buy our products based on social media. 79% of Twitter followers are likely to recommend the brands that they follow. So if I put any product today in Twitter, it's likely, if somebody asks you, which I want to bank, where you only recommend based on what you know, the people you follow. So if you follow me or you follow anybody or any of my this, it's likely you say, go to UBA, isn't it? So we really have no choice but to make sure that this marriage works. 70% of consumers using social media to learn about other consumers' experience. So if I want to find out, should I buy or should I not buy, I won't come to you, I won't call you. I'll go on social media. So it's real. So now this man's quote may also be quite relevant here. He said, the challenge for bank isn't becoming digital. It is providing value that is perceived to be in line with the cost. Or, better yet, providing value that consumers are comfortable paying for. Johnson, let's move. Our great friend, Jack Welch, will always tell you, when the rate of change outside a company is greater than the rate of change inside, it means the end is near. Jack Welch is a renowned leader, and this is what he said. He said the rate of change. So if you look at the rate of change of FinTech, the rate at which people are coming up with, is amazing. I get proposal on daily basis. So if we continue to sit, banks that will sit and say, oh, no problem, I'm afraid the rate of change outside may become too great. And if we must follow what Jack Welch said, I think that we should quickly put our house in order. So that as the changes are coming, we are holding it. So the biggest threat that will come to bank, therefore, is not going to be FinTech or Telcos, but rather the challenge of unlearning the old ways. Learning now. And relearning, and of course, embracing the new. There is an evolution powered by digital revolution. We need to brace up for it. This revolution is irreversible. The wheel of change in the banking industry is on an irreversible projectile. Technology and innovation will be the driving force of this change for many, many years to come. We either ride this change or someone else someone else will do it for us. You can call them FinTech, Telcos, or some other new entrants, irrespective of the label. They will drive the change. There is no room for any vacuum. Please take that note. There's no room for vacuum. Ride or be ridden by the storm of change. So it is my prayer that we will not be ridden by the storm. We will ride it. A revolution, this is Fidel Castro. He said a revolution is a struggle to death between the future and the past. I struggle with understanding what this man said. But what he's trying to say is that the future is coming. FinTech is coming. So if you keep holding on to death, you will be standing there and it will come and kill you. So leave the past. Let's leave the past. Let's move. This is, I think, to everybody that FinTech has come to stay. So we have no choice. So my advice to my bankers, let's rethink everything from the customer's perspective. Never say it is not possible. Serve the customer in collaboration with a FinTech as expedient. And for the FinTechs, please seek collaboration and partnership. Together, we can all achieve more. Stay alive with innovation. Beware of cybersecurity and regulations. Respect privacy of personal data. Know that there is a lot to learn from banking. It's not just lending. Partner or collaborate, of course, with the only bank for Africa, UBA, Africa's Global Bank. So we are ready. We are very ready in UBA. As you can see, UBA has moved away from managing branches to managing customer experience across channels. And so currently, our omni-channel, we deal with governments, we still have branches and branch agency, we have FinTechs, we have virtual platforms, social network, corporate, mobile, all of them combined. At UBA, we are ready to serve the customer where he wants to be served, how he wants to be served, what he wants to be served with. Finally, United Bank for Africa, our perspective and readiness for the future is summed up in just 2 words: optimism and, of course, opportunity. We are the Lion King, the king of the banking jungle.